Because real Al-Qaeda is CIA-da, Al-CIA-da. And that's just the facts. I mean, I had Ray McGovern on 3-4 years ago when they blew up the Golden Mosque, and he said his intel sources, high-level former CIA, said that they shut the mosque down for 4 hours, wired the whole thing with C4, and blew the Golden Dome off of it, one of the most holy sites in Iraq, to get the Shiites and Sunnis killing each other. And they went out and said, that, the Shiites did this massacre and the Sunnis did this one to get a literal war going as a pretext to keep our troops there. And then as soon as they wanted to stop that, they stopped blowing up mosque. And all the locals saw U.S. forces, and it later came out in mainstream news, at the back of the paper, saw U.S. forces go in, clear the mosque, wire it, pull out, and blow it up in front of everyone. They think you're so dumb, they blow mosque up in front of everyone to get the Muslims murdering each other. And remember the London Guardian? It was confirmed. Basra, Iraqi police put in by the British, caught British SAS, special forces, assigned to MI6, dressed up, running around shooting and bombing, dressed up with fake beards, dressed up as Sunnis attacking Shiite areas of Basra. It was total, and they arrested them. They were able to get them, and they took them. And then what did the British do? They openly assaulted the Iraqi police station and freed them, but not before photos got out of them with their beards off. Totally fake. It's all fake. It's all fake, ladies and gentlemen. Fake, 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 fake. Why do you think there's so many IEDs killing our troops over there? Why are they telling our police that we're about to have IED attacks all over America? Because that's something that black ops and private corporations and merc groups can go do IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan and the United States to make the troops have high morale and hate the enemy, which is imaginary. You understand that? You understand that? See, they know during the Blitz that people that get bombed get more angry. And so if there's not really any real enemies attacking, you've got to go out and plant IEDs to kill our own troops. How many times have they caught firefighters planting pipe bombs in the U.S. or burning down buildings for attention? Well, this is a lot worse than that. Large portions of the bombings and shootings were carried out by private mercs. The mercs, many of them, are there to kill our own troops and to set up roadside bombs. You understand that? You understand that? Because if you're going to have a war in the Middle East and Central Asia where private firms are making $500 billion a year off the books, not to mention the drug money, they've got to have a reason to be there. They've got to have some body counts. The truth is, body counts in many cases actually raise morale and make people want to fight and kill and go back. You understand? And then there is some real insurgents. There are some real groups fighting, but mainly it's sectarian. Every time that got stirred up between Sunni and Shiite, every time the globalists blew up a new mosque or killed a new religious leader, then our troops got stuck in the middle of it. Then, as I told you years before it happened, they flipped the switch and turned off a lot of the sectarian violence. It's all rigged. Then they say, oh, look, we've got less fighting now. Well, of course you got less fighting. You don't have British, U.S., and Israeli and other private contractors. In fact, they've caught Afghans shipped in on C-130s to Iraq. That's come out in mainstream news. You understand, folks? This is all staged. This is all staged. Staged. And they try to take our power away from us. I expose its fake videos. I expose its fake video layers. We expose all their fraud. So they just, we expose their shipping opium out of the country. So they just come in and say, yeah, we're doing it. Big deal. Let's move on. Come on. And they know the average good old boy who's a well-meaning person just wants to hate foreigners and feel like America's still America. You know, I may not have my pension fund. The bankers may be ripping me off, but at least we're killing Hajis. At least I can go watch a great movie like The Hurt Locker. By the way, The Hurt Locker was shot, much of it, in Iraq. It was embedded. That thing is a psyop. You know, at the end of the movie, the ultimate hero, the coolest guy, signs back up for his 4th tour of bomb disposal. And he's a wild man. He's a hero. He's a John Wayne. You know, he's never going to stop. It's so exciting when those helicopters land at the end and he goes walking off, you know, to serve his 5th tour. He tells his son, I don't even love you. His wife, I don't even care about you. And it's a beautiful thing. He says, you know, as you get older, you only love a few things, and now I don't even love 2 things. I only love 1 thing. And he basically tells his son he's like a worthless jack-in-the-box and leaves him to go back to war for adrenaline. And he's the hero. That's a good thing. Just like they teach you torture's good. Just like they teach you all this is good. No, the reason those guys that have served 2, 3, 4, 5 tours want to go back is because they're screwed up. Because it is boring to go to the supermarket and buy cereal. It is boring. That's why most of them want to come back and be cops. But instead of fighting Hajis, as they call them, they're pulling your wife over. They're pulling your 17-year-old kid over. And your 17-year-old kid's driving back from the gym, and he's got his weight belt in the front seat of his car. So the cop, who's just been back after 4 tours, pulls his gun and blows your son's head off and then plants a gun on you because he had no business being a cop because he's a screwed-up Fruit Loop from 4 or 5 tours in hardcore combat. And all of the basic Army psychologists knew by World War II that you don't put somebody in more than 1 tour because there's no coming back for them. They're completely fried. They need instant threat every day. They need war. They need death. They need carnage. This is what they've converted to. It's what they expect. There's no coming back from that. The globalists admit Iraq is a big laboratory to create. Iraq is a prison planet. It's like in the Dune novels. It's like Seleucus Secundus, where they send the forces to live for a decade in hell, and then the survivors are brought back to police the empire. Well, that's what the Pentagon actually says these wars are. It's to create your rulers. It's to create the people, when the war's over, who can wage war on you. And that's why they've got these IED guys in every police department teaching that the IED bombings are coming, because the feds are going to bomb the local police and tell them that the local gun owners did it, and the local police are then going to come and grab you and torture the living daylights out of you. This is the new secret police cohorts being set up in the United States. You understand how the PSYOP works? Dying for the elites. You know, Napoleon, just 220 years ago or so, or even less, just about 200 years ago, learned that men would give up their lives for little pieces of metal. He's the guy that invented medals. Oh, here, you did a good job. You get a little trinket, which is a sign of rank. That's why 5,000 years ago, native priests, no matter where it was, in Europe, Mesoamerica, Asia, wore big feathers, big crowns. Every culture wore crowns. That means this is the king. This person's better than you. Then they built castles where the ruling elite could live and have this imposing facade against the commoners who lived outside the castle. And now look at government buildings built like fortresses against us, the slaves. It's a ruling culture, a ruling system of manipulation. And they don't want you to learn how they operate and how they manipulate you. Notice our government won't protect the borders. The government won't defend our sovereignty. It demonizes our sovereignty. And it quietly demonizes returning veterans who don't join the police force. They want your guns. They list you as terrorists. They demonize you. They cut your Medicare and Medicaid and VA funding. They don't like you once you've served them. They have disdain for you because they're cowardly, pot-bellied globalists. And they think you're so dumb, they tell you that Mr. CIA, on record CIA, Osama bin Laden, he is now in Iran, so we have to have World War III with them. Right as there is a global financial meltdown, they need a new war. What have we been telling you for years? When they orchestrated the financial derivatives meltdown, they would try to start World War III with Iran. But the Rand Corporation said that wasn't enough 2 years ago. We have an article at prisonplanet.com. They said we need a multi-level, multi-region war, bigger than the last 2 Iraq invasions, similar to World War II. And what's happening now in the Korean Peninsula? See, they flicked a switch. They flick a switch, and suddenly all Hades breaks loose. Now, we've got amazing guests coming up at studio, filmmakers, to talk about their 10-hour film. And, of course, I'm in it. Many others are in it. And then we've got Gerald Celente coming on. But I've got other news here on the economy we're going to be covering with them when they're on with us. Well, here's another headline. Infowars.com receives Rise of the Right script. For those that are interested about the Chris Matthews hit piece airing next Wednesday, And yes, I am the chief enemy and target along with Rand Paul. Someone inside MSNBC who's concerned about the production and who does believe it's a hit piece, who will remain anonymous, has sent us the script. So this Boffin has sent us the Death Star plans, and we do have it. And Paul Watson is writing a detailed article, but it's exactly what I predicted. They lied to me. Of course they lied. And I said, I know you're lying. They called and they said, oh, it's a friendly piece to understand the Tea Party. We want to be friends with you. And I said, no, you're going to show me next to Father Coughlin, the Nazi, from the 40s, and you're going to show militias shooting machine guns. And they said, no, 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 we're doing something different. And I said, no, you're not. And I have the script. It is exactly, of course, the standard Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, but even more. Anyone who owns a gun is a Nazi.